Hi and welcome back to Dreaming in Fibre. I am Sarah, your host from sarahstexturecrafts.com. What have we got coming up in today's show? Well, it's late June, you'll be seeing this early July, and I thought we would talk about the most important thing for July, which is Colour Club Q3 opening up. So let's get straight into it, shall we? So Colour Club Q3 is with us. Can't quite believe it. I've got lots of things to show you. I'm holding a bat randomly in my hand. So you will have just seen a picture of the theme for this quarter, and you will have seen a picture of the products. So I want to show you the products close up and sort of go through them. So first of all are the bats, and this is they. So you can see I've worked on lots of colour combinations but also texture. So you've got merino, and then you've got some Manx Lockton fibre in there as well, just to give you a little bit of texture. These are going to be great for spinning but also for felting as well, so you can use them on a myriad of projects, and I think the colours will do quite well. I've got a project here which I'll show you now. Actually, I was going to leave it till later, but if you're on the newsletter list, you would have had hints and tips for how I recommend sort of tackling each of these products for the Colour Club. But I've gone a stage further, and later throughout the month you're going to get you know, my sort of usual reviews and tips newsletter, and in that you will come across this lovely skein, which is hand spun from a bat. And I will talk about how I've spun this and how I approached it. And then in next month, in August newsletters, I will talk through some other projects that I have made with this, which I'll show you more about in the next podcast. So keep watching for that. I always try to provide inspiration as well for products. So sign up to the newsletter, because that's always useful if you come across something you're not entirely sure how best to use it. I try and be as informative and as inspirational as I can over there on the newsletter. And so the next products I've got to show you are tops. So I've got the first one is Blueface Leicester Oatmeal, which I've over dyed with some colours true to the theme, and that will work up really lovely in spinning or in felting. Blueface Leicester is a really lovely fibre to use, so I do recommend giving that a go if you haven't already. And then this one is Shetland and Seacell. So you'll get a little touch of texture from the Shetland, and then you'll get this almost silky effect with the Seacell there. And again, that's in Colour Club colourways. So you can see the texture there. Hopefully that will, yeah. You see that? That's going to work up again lovely in felting and spinning. And I've also come up with a colour pack. So if you want to work up your own bats or rolags, then you've got that. It's mostly merino, but if I remember right, you've got a little bit of Manx and a little bit of Ryland in there as well. So it just gives you your own options to play with. And then we move on to the yarn for knitters, crocheters and weavers. Got mini skeins, so I'll show you those first. Got 3 different types of mini skeins. We've got this foxy coloured one is a blended colour, so you can see not only is it sort of really beautiful rusty sort of oranges, but then you've got speckles of chocolate. This one I've called mint choc, I think, and that again has got lovely blended colours of mint through it with this chocolate dappled on it. And then finally this is a tweed version, so this is a speckled dye essentially, and that's got essences of yellow, orange and browns on the whites there for you, on the white base. So that'll be nice to knit up. Great for sock blankets as well as mini projects, also used for heels and toes in socks, because this has got nylon in it. They're on my sparkle base, which is merino, nylon and stellina. So I've got 3 options there for you. And then finally on my Bambino base, which is Superwash Blueface Leicester and Bamboo, I've gone for the mint colourway. It's actually not quite mint, it's more of a kind of teal sort of colourway, dapples of chocolate. Sorry. Sneezing with all the fibre, I think. Dapples of chocolate running throughout, so pleased with that one, and that will make a really nice lightweight knit for you. There's enough there, there's 400 metres, so there's plenty to do a lovely shawl with. So there we go, that's all the products for Colour Club Quarter 3. As I say, if you're on the newsletter, then you're going to get information throughout the month on ways I recommend to, you know, sort of knit up and so on, and then other little projects that I've done, so stay tuned for that. I will also show you some previews of those on the podcast, so stay tuned. Okay, so next I thought we would talk about my last update, which was a big Fibre update, and then we'll go into kind of general shop news and podcasting news and stuff, and show you projects and things. I've got lots to show you. Okay, hold on. Can you tell I've been busy? I've got piles here. So you've just seen a picture of all of the colourways, and I just thought I would show you them on the podcast just so you can see them. The last update was all Blueface Leicester. So for the Blueface Leicester base, it starts at £8 per 100 grams and then goes up to 10 if we include blends, which I'll show you. I've got a couple of blends in that update. So we've got Anemone, which is pinks, purples and sort of darker magentas. We've got Embers, which has come out lighter this time, but that's kind of oranges, reds through to a deeper red and then a grey, charcoal. I've got Lichen, which is mossy colours against brown and greys. A lighter version of Exmoor, which is greens and blues and browns. And then a new colourway, which is Evening Walk. This I took from my mini skeins. So if you're a mini skein enthusiast, then you will have probably bought one of these. So this is the Fibre version for those of you who are more into Fibre. I have then got, I'm going to move these out of the way, I'm going to pop those there. I've got some Rusty Gate, some Fangorn, which is sort of light teals to charcoals, Precious Rock, which does quite well, that's tealy blues, those magenta-y reds and then browns. We've got Nightfall, perfect for some of those summer evenings, guys. Then we've got a new colour again from taken from the mini skeins. This is Daffodils, so yellows with teals and greens. And then Crocus, which is that kind of, it's not quite as in your face, that green, but a kind of lime green through to purples and teals, those colours of crocuses. And Pre-Evening, which if you watch The Big Bang is that time of day that Sheldon invented a name for. So that's sort of teals, purples and then those beautiful reds that you get in the sky with the sunset. So that's all the Blueface Leicester, 100%, £8 per 100 grams. And then I've got a couple that are Blueface Leicester and Sparkle. These are £10 per 100 grams. So this is Garden at Dusk, and that's a bluish pink, a reddish pink through to oranges. That's probably quite close for you there. And then Dartmoor as well, which is always a popular colour for me, which is reminiscent of the moors that I live very close to. So that's it for the last update. I'm going to scroll this all away and then come back to you, and we'll start talking about other shop stuff and what I've kind of been doing with myself this June. So thank you to everybody who contacted me this month just to say hi, and especially to those who said happy birthday as well for my 10th business birthday that I'm having in June. And especially thank you to Jackie, who put me a lovely little card with 10th on there to say happy business birthday. Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, really nice to, you know, sort of be in touch with all of you and to chat as usual, and it was really nice to have your well wishes on my 10th business birthday. I've had a really good month. It's been busy but very productive and very positive, so thank you. You know, as I always say, I couldn't do this without you. So what have I been up to in specifics? Well, this month I had the Somerset Guilds Fleece Day. You would have seen a picture of the stall there. Had a lovely time. It was nice to, you know, sort of catch up with people and see familiar faces, and to meet a couple of new ones as well. I met a couple of you who watch the podcast as well, who I haven't met in real life before, so thank you for saying hello. I know it can be a bit weird speaking to somebody who you've seen on the TV, but I'm probably just as nervous as you are to say hello, because you know, somehow in my head I feel I'm doing this and I'm somehow just talking to myself, when really I've put it out there for the world to see. So it's kind of weird, but you know, it's great to say hello. So please do approach me if you see me and you recognise me at shows and things. So that was good. It's been a busy production month. As you can see, I did a bumper Fibre update, which was extra to all of that birthday yarn that I processed and made and shipped out for you at the beginning of the month. So I kind of hadn't anticipated on doing that, but I think it was, if you're on the newsletter, you would have, you would have sort of heard behind it, but I guess I got a little bit kind of nervous about the EU referendum. Can't say the vote kind of went exactly as I hoped, but it is what it is, so we're going to have to make do and crack on, right? So nervous for how things are going to go forward, and watching and trying to hold on, really. I think that's what all small businesses are doing right now, just trying to, you know, anchor ourselves in and make sure whatever is to be, we can still continue and trade as we normally do. I ship worldwide, so if you're watching this from overseas and you are, you know, thinking EU referendum in mind, then as far as I can see at the moment, nothing drastically changes. It may mean in terms of my shipping out to you that if you live in Europe sometime in the future, you're going to get these little CN22 custom forms on the front of your packages, where we didn't have before, because we would have left the single market. Therefore, you know, I need to get things through your customs departments. I don't see that will have a huge bearing in delivery times, but you know, we're going to have to see how that works out, and any news that I have I will share with you, obviously as it happens. If you are overseas and you've noticed that the pound has dropped for the moment, this is probably now the best opportunity you have to come onto the shop and buy, you know, a skein of something, or a bat or something like that, or something that you've particularly had your eye on, because the pound is a bit lower, so you'll get more value for your currency. So take advantage of that. As far as I can see, that is kind of a good initial thing for small businesses, if we can try and sort of get the news out there that we might be a little bit cheaper at the moment. So, you know, take a risk and try us, and you probably won't be disappointed. Also for me, if you sign up to the newsletter as well, you get 10% off. So what can I say, it's a double whammy of goodness. I'm sure the pound will stabilise at some point soon, so, you know, keep an eye on things. I don't know, you know, what else to say in terms of what happened, because we don't know yet what that means for this country and how it's going to work out. But if there are changes to the way I have to work or the way I have to present things on the website, then I'll let you know as soon as possible. I don't think there'll be dramatic changes. I think it'll be more behind the scenes stuff for me to deal with, which will not really affect you. But you know, I'll keep you up to date anyway, so we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I sort of dived into the dye pots and did as much as I could to take my mind off of things, because I think either way the referendum, you know, whether we decided to remain or to leave, I think there would have been internal consequences within the country. So it's a bit of a not really a worrying time. It's kind of an interesting time if you're, you know, if you're into politics and things, but I think it's a time to just sort of sit and watch how things are going, and probably be careful, I think. So yeah, a little bit tentative, but there we go. So there was a big Fibre update because I wanted to, you know, kind of get my head into something that I knew I could control and feel comfortable in. I also chose Blueface Leicester, not only because it's a great fibre for you to work with, it's buttery and soft to spin and felt with, but also because it's British as well, and I think that, you know, every so often there is an opportunity to shout out and say, you know, hey, British product is fab. So, you know, come give it a try. There's still lots of yarn and things in the shops as well, and I aim to work on a lot more updates in the coming months. So there'll be probably more yarny focused. So keep watching. There'll be lots of news for you. What else has been happening? I've also been working behind the scenes on, you know, sort of plans for the future. I won't go into that too broadly at the moment because, you know, there are still, you know, I's to dot and T's to cross and that kind of thing. But there are a couple of things that have been really interesting this month. First of all, I joined it's hashtag month of Biz Love over on Instagram, and it's being run by business coach Tara Swigger. You can find it at taraswigger.com, and I'll put in the show notes to this particular 30-day challenge, and you can join in as well if you have a small business. It wasn't sort of date dependent, so it's not too late to join in, and certainly you don't have, you know, you can take a shorter amount of time to do the 30-day project, or you can take a longer amount of time, which is what I'm going to do, because I have the thing for me going forward is that I really want to make the business a bit more sustainable. I currently earn less than a part-time wage doing a more than full-time job, so I would like to increase my income without being too greedy. But I would like to be able to just live more sustainably as Sarah's Texture Crafts, and then that means that I can contribute a lot more to things that happen around the house and, you know, in my personal life, and, you know, maybe I can, you know, contribute towards things like the occasional week's holiday, which, you know, everybody needs and would love, right? So yeah, I'm kind of working on that, and it's been absolutely brilliant so far, because it's really made me sort of sit down and think about where I am, where I kind of want to be, where that gulf in between, what that looks like, and how to sort of break it down into goals where I can sort of take chunks of it and trying to attack that gulf between where I am and where I want to be. And it's worked out quite nicely so far. I've tried few little things here and there, and I guess the biggest thing for me as well is that I've kind of learnt to tackle some of my inner demons, like my kind of fear of failure, which everybody has, don't they? But also my sort of levels of anxiety that I get. But also I guess there's a bit of fear of success as well, because I have this sort of I guess fear of being overwhelmed. You know, as much as I love my job and I know that I have the capacity to do as much as I can do, I always kind of feel this sense of maybe, you know, panic, not being able to get it all done and so on. So it's been quite interesting. as a tool to learn about myself, but also, you know, sort of ways to tackle things going forward. So it's been very positive. So thank you, Tara. It's been a really big help. And as I say, I'm probably about halfway through that, so I'll talk about that more when I finish. Also, what's come out of that as a consequence is I kind of need to learn a bit more about some of the things that have been eluding me. So things like digital marketing and SEO and all of that kind of stuff. You know, I built my own website, so I can do that. I can do a bit of graphics here and there where needed. I'm not saying I'm a master at any of those things, but I can do it if required. You know, I blog, I do social media and all of that. But you know, those words that get bandied around by you know, sort of website techie people, they talk about SEO and metadata. Yes, I have a basic understanding of it, but probably not enough to kind of to feel like I've really cracked that with my website. So it was kind of weird. As I say, I was doing this month of BizLove challenge, and I got this it was an email from somebody, and they said, oh, I've just seen a coupon for courses at this at so and so academy, and it's an online organisation. I thought maybe you might be interested, so I hopped on over, and they had a course for digital marketing, and it mentions things like SEO and metadata and, you know, all that other stuff. And I thought, well, yeah, that's perfect, because that's all the stuff that I've just said to myself I need to kind of learn a little bit more about. And so I thought the coupon would give me like £10 off the price, and of course you see the price is over £300. When I got to the checkout and popped in the coupon code, it gave me a free course. And sadly, I found it literally on the last day of the coupon, so I don't have a coupon code to share with you, but I'm going to start that course tonight. So every Monday at 7 PM I'm going to be online, attending a webinar and taking notes like a studious person and hopefully trying to learn something new. So yeah, it was a stroke of luck, fortune, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It was, yeah, a bit bizarre how it happened, but fantastic. So I guess that, you know, whatever comes of this course, whether I do hugely well or whether I just, you know, get a little bit confused and take it as an opportunity to, you know, maybe read up and do other things and try and learn a bit more about it. The course was free, so it's a, you know, win-win situation, right? So I'll let you know how that goes next time as well. Also been looking at some new sample skeins as well. I'm going to show you one, and then we'll step into what I've been working on. Yeah, it's this one. This is a skein of 100 grams of Falkland yarn, so essentially for all intents and purposes it can still be classed as British yarn. And I have taken the opportunity to dye up a new colourway, which I will release soon. This is called Serene, and I'm currently working on a new pattern, which again will be called Serene. Now I don't want to show you too much. There's a little clue as to how it knits up, and it's lovely. So that's something else I've been doing. I've been working on these sample skeins, dyeing them up, and as I get round to them I'll be knitting up new things, not only to test how the yarn base knits, but also to come up with some new patterns, because I've got lots of ideas in my head, and certainly patterns are an easy sale via Ravelry. I don't mean the easy sell as in I'll sell lots of them, but it's less physical work for me. So if I can get a few more of those out there and have them sort of ticking along and doing their own thing and just advertising them every so often and hopefully get some sales from it, then it's quite a nice thing, because I don't have to physically sort of play with it after I've put it out there. I mean, obviously I have to talk to people about it and you know, maybe run a knit along or answer questions on patterns occasionally, but it's not as much work as dyeing stuff and putting, you know, labelling it, photographing it, putting it on a website, and then dealing with shipping afterwards. So it'd be nice to get a bit more of that out there this year. Speaking of which, I have the draft of the proof copy of my new book coming out as well, so that will be with me hopefully. I'm really hoping for the next podcast, so I'll show you all about that then. Really excited about that. And this one is more aimed towards beginner knitters who haven't knit with indie dyed yarn before, or people who just you know, want some ideas and things. So there'll be some patterns in there, but it will be talking about indie dyed yarn and techniques and things like that, how in terms of how they knit up, not as in how you dye them. I've had lots of people ask, you know, when am I going to release the dyeing book? I would love to, but at the moment that's how I make my money, so I would rather you buy product from me at the moment rather than me sell a book. But you know, at some point in the future I'm sure that will be something that I do. It's something that I am thinking about, certainly, and it's certainly something that I could do. So yeah, keep watching. At some point in the future that might be an option. So let's crack on to what shows I'm doing for July. I am at the Devon Guild of Weavers, Spinners and Dyers in Exeter on the 9th of July, and then at the end of July I am at Fibre East, which is in Bedford. So both of those are open to the public. If you pop on over to sarahstexturecrafts.com and go to the events page, you will find all the details for those shows there, so come and see me. I will have fibre, yarn and kits and things at both shows. Probably there will be less at the Devon Guild because I only have 2 tables as opposed to a huge booth. Fibre East, I've got a 4x2 stall, I think, so not the biggest of my stalls, but certainly enough for you to get a good idea of what I do out there. So come and say hello. I've also booked another couple of shows. So one I can tell you about is happening later this year in November. That's the Geeky Puffin Knit Palooza. I will link to them in the show notes because I think there still might be spots available for the knitting retreat section of the event. And there is a market day which is the 12th of November, and that's open to the general public from 1 till I think 1:30 till 5, and that's in Farnham in Surrey. I think it's easy to get to from London. I think it's a train ride away, and it's a central town location, so there's certainly, you know, if you wanted to come and do a B&B overnight, then there's lots of choice. I've booked mine already. You know, excited or what? But yeah, I think there was plenty of choice when I looked, and there's plenty of choice, it seems, with restaurants and things as well. So that's what I'll be doing on the 12th. The day before that, whilst I'm travelling up, I'll be celebrating my 40th birthday. So if you see me there, come and give me a birthday hug. What else am I doing? Oh, I booked a guild event for 2017, so I'll talk about that more closer to the time. But that's quite nice because I'll be doing a demonstration day and then taking some products with me. So if you're a guild member there, then look out for that one. I think it's second week June 2017 on the Saturday. But again, that's all on my events page for you. So those are the events coming up. What else have I got? Oh, I know. So the other thing I wanted to mention was part of this sort of business challenge I've been doing. I also had put a call out on social media for video podcasters to contact me so that I could send them skeins of things or bumps of fibre to help promote the business, really, because that's one of the tasks that I really need to get a handle on, is creating a bit more awareness about Sarah's Texture Crafts. And it's something that I'm almost always quite scared to do, because it feels like I'm inconveniencing somebody to ask them if they wouldn't mind helping me out. Of course, they're getting a free skein of yarn or bump of fibre out of it, so people were actually more responsive than I think my sort of sceptical negative mind sort of worked. But also I think people are genuinely, in our knitting world, really quite a helpful bunch of people. So people were happy to promote me, or they tried stuff from me before, so they were happy to promote me. And I'm sorry if you didn't get an email from me, because I did mention on social media that I would be contacting podcasters as well. I had such a big response from that one social media post that I then didn't have enough sort of budget left to contact anybody by email. So if you haven't heard from me and you're a video podcaster, then you may hear from me in the future. So if that's something that you are keen to know more about, then you can always send me an email at sarahstexturecrafts.com. I'm info@sarahstexturecrafts.com, and I can put you on my little list of people to be in touch with later in the year or early next year, when I do my sort of next round of sort of advertising, really. Oh my god, look at me marketing myself. I don't do this stuff, it really scares me. So I feel kind of a bit bizarre about it at the moment, but yeah, it's going really well. I just sent some stuff off to Benita at the Fibre podcast, so look out for that. And I've got stuff that will be going out later this week for a couple of other podcasters. So if you're on the newsletter, I'll give you all of the information, because there are giveaways linked to that. If you're on the podcast, then I suggest you join over at the newsletter, because that's where I'm going to be able to give you weekly updates on those things. If you follow me on social media like Instagram or Twitter, which is where I am mainly, then I will do my best to put shout outs there, and in my Ravelry group, Sarah's Texture Crafts. So certainly find me one of those places, but definitely on the newsletter, and I can make sure I can keep you up to date with how to enter and who to be watching, and who's giving away what. Also, in return, what I'm trying to do is give those podcasters a big shout out, and I've tried to do swaps with any one of those podcasters who are indie dyers. So on my YouTube channel there will be sort of reviews and things coming up as and when I get things back from those podcasters. So I've tried to work it so that I'm not asking for a 100% favour, but I'm asking for a favour and then returning a favour as well. So that I kind of feel more comfortable with asking about it in that way. I don't know, maybe that's weird, but I just think sometimes, you know, it makes my conscience feel a little bit better if I can offer something back. So we'll see how that goes, and of course I'll keep you up to date on that. So thank you ever so much to everybody who reached out. I've already got a few people who are on the sort of waiting list for my next round of awareness boosting. And yeah, really pleased, so thank you. So I think that's kind of it for shop news. I know that was a bit of a long one really, wasn't it, for me, but it's been a very busy month. So consequently there's not a huge amount to show you in terms of projects, but let's get cracking and I'll show you what there is. Okay, so first of all, finished these a while ago. These are Darren's socks. I can't quite remember what I knit them in now. Was it Regia? It might have been. Was it? Can't remember. I will put it in the show notes. If you look back a couple of episodes, they'll be in there. Darren is desperate to wear them. I've just hadn't had time to show you really. The next thing I finished a while ago, which I'm not sure I showed you, but I want to show you again for a reason, are my sock blank socks. They look really small, but actually they're for me. They do fit, I promise. And this is the sock blank that I've got left from this and from another little sample I made. The reason why I'm showing you is because if you're on the newsletter, look out for these. Probably next month I will do a little blog post where I show you how they knit up from a sock, how sock blanks knit up rather, the different things that you can do with them and how they block in terms of shawls as well, which I thought might be quite interesting for you, for those of you certainly who haven't used sock blanks before. Next I finished one of the skeins for my mum's jumper. So this is my colour Dartmoor, spun and plied against my semi-solid colour sarsaparilla. So that's a 200g skein, and I've got another one on the bobbins which I'm just almost finished with the singles of the sarsaparilla, and then I have to ply that. So good progress on that, so I was pleased with that because I haven't been spinning for a while really. And then the only other thing I've got that I can show you in terms of knitting is a new pair of socks that I've been working on. These are Regia Design Line Jazz Colour by Erica Knight, and it is colour 06452, I want to say. And there you can see the skeins, yeah, quite accurate there, and that's the first sock, which is quite accurate in colour. I'm attached to something there, there we go. So that's for me, just a nice short pair of socks, and then I've literally just cast on the second pair. So working away quite nicely on those as and when I've got the time. I have to say I've had a lot of aches and pains in my hands from where I've been dyeing a lot. So I've not been knitting as much as I would normally do. So there's not a huge amount of progress on that, but what I've been doing is other little things. So I got this little craft kit off of Etsy probably a year ago now. I can't remember where I showed it on the podcast, but I'll certainly link to the Etsy shop. I think it came from Canada, this kit, from possibly Japan, previous, sort of imported from Japan to this Canadian shop. And yeah, I bought that. Now the kit should look much more happy and kind of less bedraggled than that, but yeah, it was an evening in front of the TV. I was probably watching the football or something, so there's a little cutie and his little tail. I mean, the example they have on the kit front and on the Etsy shop looks yeah, a little less sorry for itself, but it gave me, you know, a couple of hours of fun whilst I was watching the TV, so yeah, I was happy to make him. I've also been doing a lot of art journaling as well, so yeah, can't really show because I've got sort of bits and pieces everywhere and bits are drying, but yeah, I've been doing things like that because it's just been something that I can work on and not have to worry too much about you know, sort of aches and pains and how long I go on for, because knitting I've literally sort of been able to do 10 minutes and then leave it at that. I think that's it actually for everything I can show you. So yeah, not a huge amount of projects, but projects nonetheless. So the last thing I wanted to mention is that I'm having a craft along over on the Ravelry group. That's the word. So come on over and check that out. I'm calling it Summer Easy, and anything goes. So you can use any yarn, any fibre, you can any sort of fibre craft to create your project. So if you're a crochet or weaver, a knitter, spinner, felt maker, whatever, feel free to join in. There are no official prizes. It's going to run from the 1st of July to 30th of September, and it's just an opportunity to have a bit of a chat over the summer and find out how you're all getting on. So I plan to probably finish my socks, finish my sample, and maybe even get a pattern out, work on a couple of other things, get the other skein of this ready, maybe even start my mum's jumper, I don't know, but just keeping it really simple and really easy, because right now I think between busy time at work, because I've got a couple of huge collaboration projects that are coming out, I've also just had my yarn featured in a book which I've got to do sort of help with the launch, not so much of the book, but my sort of awareness launch, if you like, of the book, and then I want to get skeins in the shop and so on. Then all of this podcaster stuff that I need to kind of get done and really be on top of, and sort of stagger out, because I want to, you know, make the most of it, you know. So I've got that to do. I've got the course that I'm doing as well, so shows, busy with shows. So I want something that's going to be easy, and I just want an opportunity to come in and have a place away from it all and just say hello every so often and find out what you're doing. So if you fancy crafting along with me, please do. The group is Sarah's Texture Crafts. You can find the link to that on my website homepage at sarahstexturecrafts.com. So I think that's probably it today. I don't have a huge amount of anything else to show you, but if anything does happen and I need to record an extra podcast for this month, then I will do. If not, then I might do just some short review videos as well, so look out for those on YouTube. If you're on the newsletter, you'll get all of that information, so don't panic. And you can get in touch with me at sarahstexturecrafts.com if you need anything. There's plenty in the shop, as I say, and I think there will be plenty to have in the shop whilst I'm away at the shows as well. So come on over and check that out, and if you've got a coupon, make the most of it and use it. So whatever you're doing, however your month's been, I hope that it's been good to you. I hope that the coming month is going to be really good to you, and I will see you at the beginning of August with another Dreaming in Fibre episode. So keep dreaming in fibre out there, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Cheers.